Welcome everybody to another episode.
Ever, ever notice how catchy that theme song is?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Head to Head Sports. I'm your host, Brian Parker, along with my co-host, Mr. Randall Hargrove. How you doing, sir?
All good in the hood, brother. Good to see you.
You too, you too. And thank you everybody for tuning in wherever you may be. We are streaming live and direct on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook Live. We are on Amazon Fire TV. We're on Roku TV, as well as YouTube. So please, thanks everybody for joining in and join in on the conversation that we'll be having. And thank you for tuning in. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to any of the channels. But please, definitely share. We had a lot of viewers last week, and definitely want to keep it going again this week as well. Last week we talked about the AFC. We covered all 16 teams in the AFC and made our preseason predictions of the order of finish for the AFC, and we're going to do that again this week with the NFC. Rand, just to go over a few little things that have happened over the past week. What's up, Robbie? What's going on? Um, man, so the Steelers today announced that, no surprise, Russell Wilson will start out the season as QB1. Any thoughts on that?
No surprise there. I mean, there was some back and forth, and you had like people on ESPN and all these other channels who were saying this and saying that, trying to create a quarterback controversy. But look, man, the Steelers have a Steelers way, and they've done it as long as I've been a Steelers fan. The younger guy has to earn his way over the guy that's been there, and that's just the way Steeler ball is. You can go back to Big Ben Roethlisberger, who was clearly better than Tommy Maddox back in the day, but Big Ben had to earn his way. He didn't get the start at the start of the season. He got it, I think, maybe week 3.
Yeah.
And it was the same thing with Kenny Pickett, who was clearly better than Mitchell Trubisky all day, any day. But they started Mitchell Trubisky over him because Mitchell was the guy that's been there and done that. So no surprise, man. Maybe Fields gets his shot, but I'm hoping that Russ plays well enough that he does it.
Do you think even if Russ plays well, that they will come up with some gadget packages for Fields where maybe there's some RPOs or things where they utilize his legs, or is that too risky because if he's your QB2 and you put him in harm's way with packages, then you mess up the fact of having a good backup?
No, I think he's definitely going to be in on some packages, and they're going to utilize his legs because the number 3 quarterback is somebody who's also very versatile, Kyle Allen. He's been there and done that. So, I think he'll be out there and they'll make use of his legs. He's a lot more athletic than Russ is. So I definitely think he'll be out there on some 3rd and goal lines, 3rd and shorts, things of that nature. Definitely.
Something
We're talking Arthur Smith here, you know?
Yeah, so something to get the defense to think about, because if he doesn't give it to Najee, like he puts it in his belly and then he pulls it back, that could give defenses a whole lot of reasons to pause, because they're going to have to make sure that their eyes are really seeing what they think that they're seeing.
Absolutely. Or he's going to take off on you.
Absolutely. And then if he gets jammed up, the ability to throw on the run to get himself out of it is still going to be a thing too. So if the RPO kind of backfires and then he has to do a quick handoff, these are going to be things that Russ may have been able to do early on in his career that we know that he's not going to really be able to do, or you're going to really feel comfortable asking him to do at this point in his career.
Correct. He's more of a pocket passer at this point.
Yep.
He could scramble a little bit and get out on the edge a little, a lot more than some other quarterbacks like Baker Mayfield or, who's some other shorter quarterbacks in the league that's not that mobile. He's even more mobile than Bryce Young is.
Right.
Get out on the edge and make something happen better than Bryce.
Kyler Murray, that kind of guy, kind of body. Yep. Okay, well, good. And then, Lord knows, I've been seeing these posts. Even my man Kent High had posted something about it, about this whole CeeDee Lamb. I cannot believe that Jerry Jones paid CeeDee Lamb what he paid him. He wouldn't pay Amari. I'm not saying that CD isn't better than Amari, but I don't really know what CeeDee Lamb is. And the reason that I say that is I know he's a good receiver. I'm not trying to take anything away from him because he's a Cowboy, but he's the de facto number one. There's nobody that is on the team that's going to challenge him for that. So he has to get all those yards and all those touchdowns. Is he really that dude? We'll find out. Dudes sometimes seem a little different once you give them some money. And I just cannot believe that you paid him $1 million less than Jefferson. That just boggles my damn mind. You're paying him more than Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Cooper Kupp. Damn. I guess you almost had to because he had you in a pinch where if you don't want to go into week one and you don't have a number one receiver because the other guys are that bad. But paying this guy $34 million, in my opinion, and I posted it twice on social media, I think they overpaid for CeeDee Lamb.
They absolutely overpaid for him. But check out this angle. Dak is not going to be there for much longer, right?
Right.
I think we all know that. The Dallas Cowboys, this big quote unquote America's team, because I can't stand that quote, but they are devoid of stars. They are beginning to get devoid of stars, especially offensively. So who are you going to market if they lose CeeDee Lamb?
That's true. But see, here's the thing. And at some point, the temperature is going to have to break because, I should have pulled up what and I'm going to try to do it while I'm talking too. See what the current salary cap is in the NFL because that is going to become a reality for a lot of teams. It's $255 million currently. The number that I'm getting, 255.4. You just gave CD 34. If you do sign Dak, he's going to want 60. Now, what I think Jerry is going to do is make him play out this year. But now they did this to Dak before. Now he has a no trade clause. So you can't just trade him away without his permission. You can't franchise tag him. So you're going to have to pay him. If you pay him right now, he's going to want 60. If he has a really good year, you may have to pay him more than that just to keep him. So let's just go with the low number of 60. Between Dak and CD, you would now be committing $94 million. And oh, by the way, there's a guy named Micah Parsons that's going to be looking for some money at the end of this season. So then if you got to pay him, I don't know, let's say 25, be on the safe side. Now you're going to have over $118 million of your $255 million salary cap committed to 3 players.
Right. And that's just another reason, just in my opinion, I just don't think they're going to pay Dak, man.
There's no way. You can't just
he's had his window and he's had his opportunities, and they have not produced an NFC championship level team.
2 playoff wins in 8 years.
Yeah. So I think they're going to let Dak play out his thing, and they're going to see what they got with Mr. Lance back there and maybe draft somebody.
Better be better than 5 interceptions.
Yeah, God almighty, that was terrible. Where the Cowboy fans at? We got some Cowboy fans. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because we're going to get into since we're already on the Cowboys and talking about the NFC East, that is going to be our first that we turn to. I told my wife I wanted to do the NFC East first anyway, so that I could get the bad taste out of my mouth talking about the Cowboys because it was my initial thought to give the Cowboys the NFC East. And between the theme music playing and my heart of hearts and some soul searching in the last 2 minutes, I have rescinded that and put them back in as number 2. I don't know how the Eagles are going to do it. I just believe more in the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, those guys. I have more faith in Jalen Hurts to figure out what happened at the end of last year than I do with Mike McCarthy, Jerry Jones, and Dak Prescott. Did you, by the way, happen to hear Jerry's arrogant ass talk about that he been doing this so long, there ain't nobody else that he could bring in as a general manager that could do any better than he's done?
Dude must be okay. He is seriously out of his mind now. I mean,
I was like, it was a whole bunch of expletives that went into this interview that he had. But he was basically telling the guy that, hey, the buck stops with me. I've been doing this long enough. I feel like I still got it. And he brought up the fact that he has hit on really good draft picks, which he has. But his off-season transactions are normally next to nothing. They do nothing in the offseason to make their team any better. They just rely strictly on the NFL draft. Yes, you hit on Diggs. Yes, you hit on Parsons. Yes, you hit on Lamb. You do hit on draft picks, but you got to build your team through just more than just the draft. What do you do when free agency comes? How do you sit there and improve your team? He just sits back and thinks that he's got all the answers and stuff like that. Jerry Jones, the owner, thinks the best general manager on for the Cowboys is Jerry Jones, the general manager, and doesn't think that there's anybody else out there that would fare any better. He's crazy.
Yeah, do you know we call Dallas Cowboy fans delusional. Well, now you see they got a delusional leader, man. They can't help but be delusional.
Robbie, you need to stop. Come on, Uncle Jerry was hanging out with Uncle Joe Biden. You need to stop. Let Joe get some sleep, damn it. It's 7 o'clock. He ain't even awake for this. But anyway.
God knows he needs it.
Oh my God, he needs his rest. Let Rumpelstiltskin get his rest. Let's stop playing with Joe. But anywho's, yeah. So the I look at the NFC East, and no team has won the division back to back in quite a long time. The Cowboys did win it last year, right?
They did barely, but they won it. Yes,
because the Eagles basically self-imploded.
Yeah.
I think they're going to figure that out this year, Rand. I really have the Eagles now number one. I did originally, over the last week, have it as the Cowboys, but I'm not. And even this is with now today, the Cowboys apparently signed Dalvin Cook to be their running back, along with Ezekiel Elliott. I don't know what either one of them have left. Ezekiel seems to be a third down back to me at best. Dalvin could probably be that first, second down back that they need, but does he still have the elusivity that he had when he was in Minnesota? Didn't work out for him when he was with the Jets. They did not really. I don't think they really gave him all the opportunities, but he didn't really fare well last seen with the Jets. So really interested to see what he has in the tank and how patient will Mike McCarthy be and not tempted to just start slinging the ball all over the place and commit to the run.
Yeah, if it was 2015, Cowboy fans, it's time to get excited.
Let's go.
You got Ezekiel Elliott and you got Dalvin Cook. Woo!
You had a monster.
Woo!
Oh God!
But, it's 2024, man. And those four legs got a lot of mileage on them.
A lot of hits too.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong. In his day, Dalvin Cook, I would not want to be on the opposing defense staring at that dude looking hungry, ready to get that ball from the quarterback. I would shake when he get on the outside and coming at me. I'd have to start making business decisions. I really would. But to your point, it's 2024, and the past ain't gonna get you anywhere. 12-4 didn't get the Cowboys anywhere. 13-4 didn't get the Cowboys anywhere. So the past isn't going to do it either. So you really got to produce and not, you got to do it now. So I really want to see what the Cowboys are going to be able to do. I don't trust their run game. I know that their defense was very opportunistic. They went last year as where their defense went. If Parsons and Diggs and them were really, really hungry and creating a lot of turnovers that put the offense in good field position, they seem to do very, very well. I really want to see how that's going to continue. I really want to see who the Cowboys' second receiver is really going to come out to be. That's going to be an interesting thing too when you're looking at their depth chart and everything else with that. The Cowboys, oops, I just passed it. Lord have mercy. The Cowboys' depth chart, you've got CeeDee Lamb, of course, on one side. Then you've got Brandon Cooks, who can't stay healthy, as another receiver, and then you got Jalen Tolbert, who as another receiver. They don't really have any depth at receiver. You got Jake Ferguson as their tight end. So unless Jake Ferguson is gonna turn into like how Mark Andrews is for Lamar Jackson, if CD gets double teamed and covered up, who are you going to be able to reliably get the ball to?
Man, that's why I said, just to reiterate my point from earlier in a few minutes ago. I mean, they are really becoming devoid of any offensive talent and stars. It's dwindling. It really is. So yeah, it's like CD. He's kind of like ain't no kind of about it. He's definitely the number one wide receiver, but by default, because what's challenging him.
Exactly. Brandon
Cooks goes down to injury.
The number one. Brandon Cooks ain't even the number two.
No, Cooks is a good 3 at this point in his career. Right. You're absolutely right.
He's not even a 2, but they have him lined up as a 2.
Yep.
Which means that he got 2 by default. So if your 1 is a 1 by default and your 2 is a 2 by default, you ain't really got that much in your covers.
No, man.
Goes back to what I said about Jerry Jones. Yes, you hit on draft picks, but you need depth in your team.
And they do not have it this year.
If he gets hurt, your season is over.
It's done. It is a wrap. It is an absolute wrap.
You have nothing to fall back on. You put $34 million into one dude. You better hope in hell he stay upright all season long and only get nicked here and there. No significant injuries, no significant time off the field. You need him for the whole season. You miss even a few games, that will give Philadelphia a chance to earn a couple of more victories. And the difference between you going to the playoffs and them going, there may only be one team this year out of the NFC East that goes to the playoffs.
Very well.
You cannot count on, because with San Francisco, with the Chargers, with some of these other teams, with Detroit, Green Bay, hell, Chicago may turn a few heads. You just don't know your opportunities. You have to win this division to have a clear chance to go to the playoffs. You cannot count on a wild card. So if you don't have your most expensive player now upright for all 17 games, that could be a problem.
Big problem, man. And I foresee some big problems with Dallas. That's why I said, when I was doing my thing in the cooler about my predictions, that the Dallas Cowboys are kind of like the Buffalo Bills. Their window is closed. It's gone. They missed their opportunity. Now they're on the downward slide where they're losing talent, and they haven't really done a great job of replacing that. And I really think this season they could be pushed or even overtaken by the Commanders. And I guess we'll get to them in a second or two.
Damn. Okay. Let's do that. Let's talk about the Washington, because we'll get back to the Eagles. Let's talk about the Washington Commanders and what they've got going on. Of course, right now with the depth chart, you've got Jaden Daniels, rookie, starting at quarterback, being backed up by Marcus Mariota. You've still got Brian Robinson in as your primary running back, but behind him, you've got Austin Eckler, a great addition.
Exactly.
Nice.
They got a really good number one, number two punch.
Mm-hmm. I like that one. You've got Noah Brown now as a receiver. Noah got cut, so you got Noah Brown. You got Terry McLaurin again back in as your receivers. I like their receiving core. You got Zach Ertz, tight end that's proven. He's a little bit older now, but I still think he can still get things done in that in between the tackles and the secondary for some blocking and then get out into some open space. A sure-handed guy. So I think they've got a good bit going on with their offense. Bobby Wagner is going to be the middle linebacker for the defense, which will be interesting. Frankie Louvu has made his way up there as well. So Frankie's a good one. Jeremy Chin
as well.
Now on that defense. So you start seeing some names on this defense. This defense has retooled.
Big time. And they're a lot deeper than Dallas is. They are.
Yes, I agree. You're not just sitting there going, okay, Trayvon Diggs is on that side. We'll just throw it to this side. No, they've got a lot of good weapons on their outer sides too. So you're going to have to pick your poison. And my hope is with Jeremy Chin, giving him just one position to kind of focus on should probably help him instead of trying to make him this guy just kind of move around and everything like that.
Do they have him a linebacker by chance?
They have him in as strong safety right now.
Okay. Yeah.
We'll see.
I just think that's a mistake. I wish they would just let him have like a linebacker position because that's when he really excels, around the line of scrimmage.
Mm-hmm. I think what their thought on that is they may end up doing it, but I think they're just starting him out there because the depth and strong safety is probably one of their weaker spots.
Yeah.
They've got a little bit stronger linebacking core with Bobby Wagner in the middle and Lugo on the weak side. Strong side, they got Dante Fowler Jr. So I think they're just lining Chin up right there for now. But they need to settle in on what position he's going to play. I think Carolina tried to do that whole Swiss Army knife thing with him, and that just did not give him any kind of comfort where he's going to be. Some guys can excel with that, like Micah Parsons. Sometimes you can put him in a stance. Sometimes you can just make him stand up and go after the quarterback and that kind of thing, and he can excel at that. Some dudes, they just need that assignment, and I think Jeremy Chin is going to be one of those guys. I think he's still a special dude. I just think that Carolina just didn't use him properly.
They did not. Like I said, he needs to be around the line of scrimmage. He needs to be like a linebacker that can roam side to side and cover tight ends and make the hits on running backs coming out the backfield, stop the run. But he's not that dude just going to stop bombs all the way down field.
Yeah,
like
I don't know about him being in man-to-man coverage and stuff like that.
His coverage is not good at all. No.
I don't think that he doesn't have the span for that. I think if you put him in that and leave him on an island, he's gonna get burnt.
Yeah, he will.
So maybe and then strong safety at that. Like, wait a minute. don't you normally catch the number one when you're doing that? Ain't you on that side of the field?
Yep, you are helping out your corners, and sometimes you get isolated if the routes are deep enough. So
right, because
I just don't like that.
You got to keep going.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
No.
Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. But I think the Commanders, you're right. They have a lot more upside than the Cowboys. The problem is we got to really see it happen, see how it all comes together. On paper, they do look a little bit better. That's kind of why I'm only giving the slight nod to the Cowboys for my number 2.
I am too.
I got the Commanders right there at a 2A-ish, 2B-ish kind of thing. And of course, backing up the rear is going to be the New York Football Giants, because let's be honest, we can talk about the Giants in like 30 seconds.
Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. Here you go. Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Danny DeVito. I'm sorry, Tommy DeVito. What's the difference? Anyway, all three of them are terrible. You could put Daniel Jones' jersey on Drew Lock and Danny DeVito Jr., and they would be the same dude. It doesn't matter. It's going to be the same result. I'm sorry.
Daniel Jones is the number 1 quarterback, and he's never thrown for more than 15 touchdowns in his entire career. We could stop right now.
That tell you everything you need to know. But in case y'all want to know a little bit more, Devin Singletary is going to be their main running back. He's not the same Devin Singletary. He's gotten older and older. Then you've got receivers. Let me see if any of these names scare you. Malik Neighbors, Jalen Hyatt, Wan'Zale Robinson, and then I'll go ahead and put Darius Slayton in last. Now, maybe Slayton might, give you a little bit, but you got to have a quarterback to get him the ball. Tight end, Daniel Bellinger, who they do not scare me on offense at all. You're dependent on this team's defense to keep you in games. And I understand that now they got Spider-Man, Brian Burns. And this is going to be different from Burns, Fran, because Burns has been in a 4-3 defense since he came out. Evero didn't really run a lot of 3-4 like he was going to.
Yeah.
They're running 3-4. So Burns is going to have to cover a lot more now than he did before.
Which ain't going to work out for him, man. And it's not going to work out for the Giants at all. But while we're discussing them, I mean, I was glad that Carolina got rid of Burns. I was.
Finally, we talked about it all year last year.
He was a good, decent pass rusher that wanted to be paid like a TJ Watt, and it just was not going to happen. And I don't blame Carolina for letting him go. I don't.
But Rand, they knew that from training camp, OTAs, and all of that. and they still let it go as long as they did.
And they really passed on the Giants first time, who wanted to give up, I believe it was 3 number ones for him at the time.
Yes.
And they passed that deal up, which was absolutely insane. But
they would have been able to move back into the first round in this past draft.
Yeah, that was crazy, man. But
I
don't think Burns is going to do anything for the Giants.
I don't either.
Nope.
I don't think that defense suits him.
No. And he's kind of on the slight side when it comes to his build.
Exactly.
So I think he's going to get manhandled by a lot of left tackles coming off the edge.
Yep.
I think Giants overpaid for him, but that's their problem.
And that's the other thing. They've got him on the left, and he's traditionally been on the right.
Yeah.
You got him coming to the other side now.
Yeah. So just a multitude of reasons why I think New York's going to be at the bottom of that division. Mm-hmm. And I completely agree with the way you got it lined up. I got the Eagles coming in number 1. I think they're the most talented team there. I think they definitely got the best quarterback there in the division out of the 4 teams. And I got Dallas coming in second, but barely over Washington. And the only reason I have it that way is because of the rookie Jaden Daniels. I just need to see what he has.
Exactly.
He's a rook, though. So, I can't put him over a Dak who's been there and done it. But, hey, like I said, I think that the Commanders could push Dallas this year. And then I got New York coming in 4th.
I totally agree with that. Yeah, with Philly, you've got Jalen Hurts, and you've got a motivated Saquon Barkley that when he sees the Giants twice a year,
it's going.
He gonna give him something to think about. He definitely gonna. I believe he's definitely going to do that. So that's going to be interesting to see how Saquon really comes back from what he did in New York. Has he taken too many hits? Is he going to be that Saquon of old? I think him being there with him and Gainwell, having receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, having Dallas Goedert as your tight end. I still like their offense. Again, Kenny Pickett is his backup. I don't know what happened at the end of the year where they just self-imploded, but I trust the Eagles to have figured that out and to get back on the right side of things. I trust the Eagles more than I do the Cowboys. So ultimately, that's why I have to give it to the Eagles.
Yeah, as long as you got A.J. Brown on one side and Devontae Smith on the other, and you got Gobert.
You got a mobile quarterback that can run, extend plays with his legs, even if he's just extending it to give his receivers more time to get open.
Yep.
Damn.
You have problems.
And not for nothing, Saquon is a very capable receiving running back.
Yes, he is. And a very good blocking running back.
Saquon go north and south on your ass when he catch them little 2-yard passes in the backfield and just drag you down the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If he got any of that left, come on now. So I trust them Eagles to fly again.
I do too.
There we go with the NFC East. So let me make sure I got you down the same way that I got me down. This will just be an easy copy and paste. That's how I like it. I could just highlight all 4 of them and just hit copy, and there it is. All right, Eagles, Cowboys, Commanders, and Giants. All right, let's look at the NFC North. Rand, I think this is why I'm going to go back and say, Cowboys, if you do not win your division, you might be on the outside looking in. Don't matter how many games you win this year. If you don't win your division, you may be in a world of hurt when it comes. Let me just say this too. If the Cowboys do not win their division and do not go to the playoffs, goodbye, Mike McCarthy. Salute.
Somebody has to be to blame.
You done. What's up, Ryan Young? How you doing, sir?
What's up, Ryan? Young Ryan.
Yeah, Ryan just snuck in here while I was sitting there talking about McCarthy. But yeah, so I think he's done if he can't figure out how to not only get to the playoffs this year, but actually get past the first round. Because if they win the division, of course they get but they're not the number one seed. They got to play the first weekend. If they don't get out of that first weekend, it's over. I almost think if he doesn't get to the championship game, it's over.
Let's just put it this way: it's over in Dallas. Let me just go ahead and get it out there.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get to the end of the book.
It's over. It's over. And all y'all that got all these Super Bowl aspirations and deep playoff runs aspirations.
Let me just
not happening this year.
Let me put it to you this way, Mike McCarthy. If you do decide that you want to buy a house in North Carolina, I am a licensed realtor. And I will be able to help you with that purchase for your forever home, since this will be your last coaching job. Anyway, so just letting you know, Mike, you might want to go ahead and start looking for a realtor now. Send your wife my way. While you in the season losing games, have her come out to Carolina. I'll take her out, show her some places in Lake Norman. We good. Ryan said Eagles' worst line in the years since Barkley started is still better than the best the Giants have had. That's true. He may not be rookie Saquon, but he'll be better now that there's some pass or quarterback rush threat that isn't produced by Daniel Jones. Well, yeah, that's true. And I ain't never seen Jalen just run down the open field by himself and trip his damn self over. So you got that going for you too. You know, he ain't gonna self-tackle himself like Daniel Jones has.
The Eagles just have had a historically, a great offensive line. And I know that they lost the man in the middle there at center. He retired.
Yeah.
But I think they're going to be good again this year. And to Ryan's point, I mean, just look what that line did for a running back in Carolina that we have right here, right now.
I was going to bring that with Miles Sanders. When you
Miles Sanders
got paid off of what he did in Philly, but when he came to Carolina and the offensive line wasn't the same, he just turned into a jag, just a guy.
Huge fall off.
It didn't look extraordinary anymore. So this is why, Rand, though, the running backs have become so underpaid, because more and more folks are starting to realize that a lot of these lines are making these guys look really good. Some running backs you can say, okay, good line or not, this dude is phenomenal. I think of a Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, when you think of somebody like that. But when you see some other guys, like I want to see what Joe Mixon does in Houston. I think he'll be okay, but I want to see what he can do. Some guys, when you see them not in those same situations, they get paid, they go somewhere else, and you go, damn, what happened? Nothing happened. His line changed. People say, what happened to Miles Sanders? Carolina's line is not Philadelphia's line.
Far from it.
So and you see what happens when the talent of the back not having the talent of a line comes together. It makes the back's job even harder, or even makes them look not as extraordinary as they used to look. So that's
when you have to find your own holes and you have to make your own missed tackles. I mean, it's a lot harder than having a 300-pound guy in front of you.
And what makes most runs effective to me, Rand, is when you have a good play action game. When there's the threat of the pass, and yet you can hand it off because you have to make the defense second guess whether you're going to throw or whether you're going to run. That really helps the running game. When your passing game is non-existent or your play action game is terrible, then it really even puts more of a strain on your running game. So y'all always remember that the pass sets up the run, or vice versa, but you got to have complementary football. You can't just be a one-sided kind of thing, because then the defensive team can pin their ears back and just play you for one or the other.
That's right. You always got to have
the box, or they're going to play you for the outside and dare you to run.
You always got to have the defender thinking about what he's going to do. Make him pause that split second.
Yeah.
Make him pause that split second.
And think. One-sided, no, it don't matter what back you got back there, unless it's Derrick Henry or Christian McCaffrey. So, and Derrick Henry, just again, he make you make business decisions, because you got to decide, if he hit me, how do I want to fall? If you get close enough to me, how can I make it look like I reached out for the arm tackle and with him, so that I can live to play another game? You got to make business decisions with him.
My
So,
business decision with him, I would just drop to the ground and roll like a log and hope I tripped him.
see, I got to make it look good because
Yeah.
On Monday when we having our film session, I don't want them to keep playing it reverse, play it reverse. CB, I don't think you was really committed to the tackle. And I'm sitting there going, you got dang right I was.
Nah, ain't nobody trying to end up like Josh Norman rolling off the sideline.
I said, I'm not trying to be in that highlight reel.
Hell to the nah.
Ryan said, L. Bell, oh God, it was a prime example of an explosive yet patient back that suffered when he left the bird. Hilariously true. Randall
Yes,
will
sir.
certainly feel that that one, LOL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. When
That's
he did that
100%.
whole loadout, I'm sitting there going, you dumbass. You
Yeah.
dumbass.
100% accurate.
Yeah. If F around and find out was a meme, it would be Le'Veon Bell.
If hire an agent was a meme, it would be Le'Veon Bell. Please hire an agent from now on. I don't care what business venture you go into. Hire yourself an agent, bro, for real.
Get some representation, y'all.
Yes, please.
Damn cheap.
I don't give a damn if you're buying a car. Get some representation.
Right. Exactly. Which leads me back to if you're buying a house in North Carolina, you need to get some reputation and get a realtor. Brian Parker with Jermaine Parker Realty. Shameless plug.
Mike McCarthy.
Mike McCarthy. Mike, go to brianparker.realtor and you got me right there all day, every day. Anyway, though, just don't do it on Wednesdays and Thursdays between 7 and 8. I'm a little busy. But anyway,
for real, Mike, you're gonna need it come 2026. I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, you're gonna need that house. And I hear Lake Norman and Ballantyne are really, really nice areas. So come check. Hey, Brand, I hear Mint Hill's really nice too.
Oh yeah, you come on in the hill if you want to. Come chill in the hill.
Go out to the hill. Oh my gosh. So that's where we got the NFC. So let's look at the NFC North. Because this is going to be, I think, a more competitive division in a way than it was even last year. I still think the cream of the crop is going to be the Detroit Lions, but I think the Green Bay Packers showed us enough last year to believe that if they trend up, their upside is a whole lot better than where you would see maybe the Bears or the Vikings right now in this moment. But here's the thing. All of those teams have the potential within the next 2 years, 3 years to really, really ascend. So with the Lions could eventually become another Buffalo Bills situation where your window is going to start getting tighter and tighter because the Packers are on your ass. The Bears are going to be on your ass. And at some point when Minnesota figures out a quarterback not named Sam Darnold, they going to come back too. So Detroit, this got to be your year. I know San Francisco is still out there, but y'all got to figure it out. This has to be the year that Detroit makes it because nothing past this year is guaranteed. Not the way that
accurate, brother. I'm right there with you. I didn't even think about that point, but you're 100% right. As we are sitting here today, Chicago is improving. As we're sitting here today, the Packers are improving. So, Detroit kind of stayed pat. They didn't lose their talent, which is cool, but they didn't get any better. So their window is open right now. But like we say all the time, open windows do not stay open long.
They do not stay open long. I mean, Jared Goff did an admirable job. He really showed that he still has some gas in the tank. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown as a receiver. You got Jameson Williams out there. Tre'Quan Smith, who's on the IR right now. So you got some guys. You got some dudes. You got David Montgomery starting as your running back, but you got Jahmyr Gibbs as his backup. I love Gibbs. And then your tight end, Sam Laporta. You got some weapons out there. Jared Goff has some serious weapons out there. So I'm looking for them to do some things. I'm looking to see Aiden Hutchinson continue to get better on that outside.
I was about to say, I was hoping you're going to get to the defense because I really love Hutchinson, man, on that one side.
Yes, he's only going to continue to get better and better and better. He's going to anchor that defense. I see this as a really, really good bunch, not necessarily being knocked off the top of the NFC North yet, but you got some serious contenders on their heels. Like I said, most likely now you got the Green Bay Packers. You got Jordan Love, who had his coming out party last year. Got his money this off season, which is good. Now it's going to be up to him to prove it. Ryan says the NFC North will be one of the most fun divisions to watch in the next few years. Spot on OGs. And you know the NFC North and the AFC North, in my mind,
Brutal.
are the two of the toughest damn divisions in football.
They're brutal, man. I had the toughest time picking this division, and of course the AFC North. Yeah,
Because you could almost, even if I go Lions, Packers, Bears, Vikings, outside of the Vikings, you could make a case for any of the other three to end up in first.
you really could. They're all the other three are that talent rich.
Mm-hmm. And that reminds me of the AFC North. You can come up with your list, but if you sat there and said, "Well, nah, Brian, I think the Packers are going to end up I couldn't argue with you.
Yeah.
I could say, you know what? If I blinked an eye or did something like that, I could see it easily, easily. So, but you got Jordan Love coming back. Malik Willis is his backup. You got freaking Josh Jacobs again as your running back, and AJ Dillon behind him. That's crazy. Christian Watson proved that he's a dude. Romeo Doubs proved that he's a dude. You got those dudes coming back. Luke Musgrave, the tight end, is coming back. My God, he gonna have fun.
My favorite thing about Jordan Love is that his well, I think it was his. I can't remember if it was his first playoff game in Dallas or was it his second. I can't remember. I want to say it was his first, though.
I think it was his first. It was.
Yeah. But went into Dallas.
Yes, sir.
And the lights was not bright.
No.
Those lights were not bright. He didn't give a damn. He did not give a damn. And that just lets me lead to believe that that's going to carry on, roll on over to this year. And he's going to be that man again.
That's a great point, because we talk about all of these paper champions where they win their division or they win the regular season, you know, Ravens, you know, you win all these games during the regular season, you get to the playoffs, the lights come on, they get a little brighter, and then all of a sudden you start trying to throw in the triple coverage and not do what you did. They got you to the playoff.
Lamar Jackson.
Jesus Christ. You do all of that stuff, and I'm sitting there going, wait a minute. But you're right. The poise that Jordan Love had, like, we've been here before. Bro, you ain't never been there.
Yeah. But to go into Dallas.
You tell. Yeah, you go into AT&T Stadium, you go to Jerry's World, and you look around and you go, well, I'll be damned. Oh, Anthony said, why you said Ravens? And I was thinking the same thing. because I mean, they're that team that, you know, from September to mid-January, you're like, damn, they are world beaters. They can beat anybody on any given Sunday. And then you get to the first round of the playoffs, and you look and you be like, I ain't seen this team all year. Who the hell are these guys?
Yep. And
you like, damn. You know, it's like, y'all getting extra checks for this. What the hell's going on? Why y'all playing like this? Yeah, like they're telling you got to do it for free. But some teams just respond better to pressure. Anthony says Green Bay are good finding quarterbacks and developing them. Well, yeah, this one had a long time being an understudy, so I will give you that. I mean, it ain't like they just rolled him off the line and said, "Hey, here you go," like they're doing with Jaden Daniels or Caleb Williams, you know, where they got to step right in, or even Anthony Richardson, his second year. Hopefully, it'll be a full year where they're just making them start. Bryce Young, you got to start. CJ Stroud, you got to start. Jordan got the benefit of, you know, whatever you think about Aaron Rodgers, one of the best quarterbacks ever.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point, Anthony. It's like there are not many teams in the league that can go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to now Jordan Love. I mean,
who, as a Green Bay Packers quarterback, went to the playoffs in his first year as a quarterback.
I'm saying that
Favre and Rodgers did not do.
Yeah, I'm saying, man, it's like a whole lot of teams out there have had their ups and downs with quarterbacks, even my Steelers. But you don't just find too many teams out there that just go from one to the other like this and keep on rolling.
Exactly. Like there's no drop off.
Yeah.
You know? So, and then you got these young guys now that last year nobody even knew who they were, and they showed you who they were. They kind of did what the Houston receivers did. They just said, you know what, Brian on Head to Head said, none of our names strike fear in anybody. We're gonna change that, and they did. And Christian Watson, Romeo Dobbs, they did the exact same thing. They proved that under pressure, hey, we can be just as formidable as Jordy Nelson used to be, and all those other guys that played before us on for the Packers and stuff like that. So, kudos to them. I think they're still there. I don't see any drop off for them at all. That's why I still have them as a close number 2.
Robbie Jenkins says the Bears still can't beat Green Bay even with Rodgers gone.
Well, I love Aaron Rodgers looking up to Chicago and say, I owned you. I always have. Now, if the Bears ain't careful, do you really want Jordan Love to start saying that too?
For real.
That's hilarious, Robbie. But yeah, you're right. But again, the Bears remind me of the Commanders in that we need to really see what that rookie quarterback is going to be able to do with a team that's been handed to him. You got a good running back in DeAndre Swift. You got Khalil Herbert as his backup. You got DJ Moore on one side. Now you got Keenan Allen. I'm sorry, you got Keenan Allen.
They probably got the one of the best trio of wide receivers in the whole NFL.
Tell it. That is absolutely nuts. Then you still got a capable tight end, Cole Kmet. I mean, you got the offense. This kind of reminds me, too, of what Philly was going through 2 years ago when everybody said, hey, their offense looks good. We just got to figure out what Hurts is going to do.
Yeah.
It Hurts showed everybody. So now we really need to see is Caleb Williams that dude or not. Now the hype is gone, and he's going to have to start taking some real snaps and stuff in real live games. Is he going to be that dude? I still think there's going to be a learning curve with him. Not that I think he's going to show you flashes of promise and stuff like that. I think he's going to have a better year than Bryce Young had last year.
I do too. I agree with you. And that was you are like here today, man. For real. Yeah. Because I was thinking Bryce Young as well. And I think Williams will outplay what Young did last year. Won't be hard, but
it won't be hard. No. But I honestly think, and not for nothing, he might outplay him this year too.
You're right. And that would be sad. That would be sad, man.
With a capital S, it would be sad. I wouldn't be the other S surprised.
Right.
It would be sad. Oh my gosh. I'm having too much fun with this. And then lastly, you've got the lowly Minnesota Vikings who gave up their longtime quarterback Kirk Cousins and traded them in for one Samuel Darnold. And Nick Mullins is his backup. Damn. You just paid Justin Jefferson a hell of a lot of money, but now you don't have anybody that might be able to get him the ball, or he's going to really have to work really, really hard for it. I see this as a step back for the Vikings. Their defense has typically been pretty formidable, but when you have an offense, if they can not stay on the field for extended plays, and you guys have heard me say this all the time, a poor offense can make an extraordinary defense just look ordinary because you're going to wear them out. I don't see this offense being able to stay on the field long enough to give this defense the proper rest to be able to keep them in games.
No, sir.
The team that is going to once they get behind, it's not if, it's when, whether it's the second, third quarter, when they get behind, is this a team that you see the ability to come back and win games in the fourth quarter? I don't see it.
Hell no, it's Sam Darnold.
And we just talked about how crazy the North is, right?
Yep.
They have to play the three teams we just talked about twice.
0-6.
That's 6 L's.
0-6.
That's 6 L's right there. Out of 17. Out of 17, you already down 6.
Man, I used to get so tired of this Sam Darnold talk and people making excuses for Sam Darnold. I'm seeing a little bit of it in the cooler too. He didn't have this in Carolina. He didn't have that in Carolina. He didn't have this in New York. He just needed a line. San Francisco, he played very well, but it was only a game, right? But
are these the same people that root for Baker?
Must be, yeah, must be. I'm like, When are y'all going to just realize sometimes that a quarterback just is who he is, man?
Right. And you gotta, when they show you who they are,
you gotta believe it. Just believe it. He's not going to be any better than he has ever been any other stop that he has. I'm sorry.
Sam Darnold be a journeyman? Yes. Will he do just enough to be able to tack onto a team and be a number 2, number 3? Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Is he going to be that guy where you're going to say, I'm going to put the keys to my franchise in his hands? I got 2 words for you. Hell and no. It's not going to happen. Let it go.
Can you say those 2 words again for me? Because I agree.
Hell and no. There's no way. Y'all got to sit there and realize that it's just not going to happen. He's not that dude. So he's their starter, and the fact that you have Nick Mullins as his backup, you're not even giving him any competition.
No.
So he's going to be the starter before the foreseeable future. Ryan says JJ McCarthy's injury busted the Vikings timeline big time. Very similar to Trey Lance injury in San Francisco. They'll probably land in the bottom half of the division. Yep. And have a pick to compete with JJ before he even has a chance to try to prove himself. Also, Baker runs circles on Darnold. He's laughing. He's not elite. Darnold is a backup. Boys, let's not play.
Well, I can agree with you, man. If I'm going with Baker or Darnold, I mean it's like choosing diarrhea and shit. But I would choose Baker.
Oh God! You know what? I ain't played this one, but I got to based on what you just said with that one. There we go.
Got him. We fucking got him.
You did. Yeah, I got to. Thank you, Drewski. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're putting a gun to my head and making me choose between Baker Mayfield and damn Sam Darnold, I mean, kill me. I mean, just if that's all I got left in life, the grave don't really look that bad. So, Anthony says, can we say Trey Lance is the biggest bust nobody's talking about? Well, we would, but there's a little small guy underneath him propping him up, and his name is Bryce Young. Because unlike Trey, Bryce is a starter. So I can't really say Trey is the biggest bust right now because, yeah, they drafted him high and thought better of it, and Brock Purdy took his job that he never got first. Then he went to Dallas, and he's behind Cooper Rush. So he really hasn't played as a starter. Last seen Bryce Young, I ain't seen nothing to make me think any different that he's the biggest bust so far. As far as active quarterbacks go. But
San Francisco just drafted Lance. I mean, he can't help where he's drafted. If they overvalued him, that's on San Fran.
If you want to say he was overdrafted, sure.
Right. But on Young's part, I mean, we gave up a whole hell of a lot to get Young up in the house. So,
gave him a fully guaranteed contract too.
Oh yeah. So he's got bust written all over him right now.
Big time. So I feel you, Anthony, but I need to see Trey Lance be a starter and look just as bad as Bryce Young before I'm willing to say that. Bryce Young has definitely proven that he is a bust. I know that's gonna hurt y'all's feelings, and I keep saying that, but if he want to prove me wrong, I'm here for it.
I'm here for it too. You see what I got on today?
Yeah,
I'm here for it. Please,
prove me wrong, listen. I don't want it to be October and we already having $7 seats at Bank of America Stadium.
Yeah. I mean,
or because of who they're playing, and I haven't even looked at their schedule, but people start giving their tickets away to the opposing teams and they fill up the damn stadium, which I already know that's going to happen. When you start looking at it like that. Matter of fact, let's see, we covered the NFC North. We talked about our teams there. I think we had the same order for that one as well. Lions.
What do you have? Just reiterate.
Yeah, Lions, Packers, Bears, and Vikings.
That's exactly how I have it. So
Look at that.
what is that's 2 for 2 today?
2 for 2.
Two for
Exact
two.
same thing. This is going to be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and drop into the NFC South. I was going to do it last, but I need to feel better about myself after the NFC West. So let's look at the South. And I know in just a second my Instagram connection is going to drop. So I'll let you get into it a little bit too when I'm doing that. That way I can kind of have both things going on at the same time. But we've got the NFC South. This is a division in turmoil, a division in flux. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers won it last year. And I'm looking for them to do it again by default. I don't see where any of the three other teams have done that much to really challenge Tampa as that team. When you've got Todd Bowles still coaching, doing his thing. Yes, they lost Dave Canales, who worked well with Baker Mayfield to get him where he is, and they're hoping that he can bring that spark to Carolina for Mighty Mouse. I mean Bryce Young. I don't know if they're putting lifts in his shoes to help him. Put him on stilts. Hell, I think you could just put him on a damn ladder back there. I know you ain't supposed to put that on the field, but why not? I try anything right now. Hell, have him sit on the center's shoulders. So when he say hike, he just follow like this.
Like they do in the swimming pools.
I'm sorry. The visual is just too much. I can see it in my head, and it's hilarious. But they got to do something. But anyway, before I get to the Panthers and just rip their short ass quarterback, I'm sorry, our short ass quarterback. But I see the Bucs as kind of just being that team by default. I don't think New Orleans did enough to catch up. I don't think Atlanta did enough to catch up. You got the Buccaneers, you've got Baker, you've got Kyle Trask backing them up again. You got Rachaad White as the running back. You still got that combination of the best wide receiver duo by far in the NFC South, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Godwin is another year removed from that terrible injury that he had, so I expect him to be even more explosive this year. And having another offseason to work with Baker, know how he places the ball and stuff like that, I think it's going to help. I saw Baker do some things in Tampa that I wish he had done in Carolina and Cleveland, which was be able to manipulate the pocket. When you are a short, it's not that I hate short quarterbacks. Well, okay, I do hate short quarterbacks.
I was about to say you hate short quarterbacks.
Yeah, I hate them. But the reason that I hate them is because they have to do more to get accurate passing lanes. The thing that I always talk about with what makes a good quarterbacks great is their ability to throw people open, not wait for you to get open and throw it to you. Because when you've got really, really good corners like a Sauce Gardner out there and you're waiting for your receiver to get open instead of throwing him open, Sauce has a pick six going the other way.
Got that right.
You can't do that with guys like that. That dude will anticipate what you're going to do and get to that ball before your receiver whips his head back around. If you don't know how to throw your guys open, your middle name is going to be pick six. Or, I'm sorry, Trey Lance. But either way, because you're going to throw a lot of picks. But that's what's going to happen. So you got to have those taller quarterbacks that when they get ready to see that receiver go into his break, I'm throwing to where I know he's going to be, not where he's at. When you're smaller, you got to maneuver around the pocket enough to now see where the guy currently is. That's what made Russell Wilson so unique early on in his career, because a lot of times you just see him sit there on his back foot and just throw the ball up in the air, and them boys just go get it. And you be like, ain't no way in hell he saw where that dude was. Ain't no way. You can look at the trajectory of his throws and go, man, them 50-50 balls. But he just had the dudes out there to go get it and make him look good and stuff like that. When you are a short quarterback, it is hard to get passing lanes when you have 6'5", 6'6" linebackers or tackles reaching up and batting your balls down. You have to manipulate the pocket. Does that mean you step up? Does that mean you go side to side? Does that mean that you have to roll out to get open passing lanes. Yes, if you are adept at doing that as a short quarterback, you can have some success. If you can throw on the run, if you can throw across your body, those things will have to be tools that as a short quarterback will have to be things that you have to use a lot more than that prototypical 6'4", 6'5" quarterback that may not be as athletic, but can get the ball out of their hands quick because they can make quicker decisions. Ryan says, how do y'all feel about the cockiness of modern DBs like Sauce? I love it personally, but I love the diva receivers too. People always get mad. A ball doesn't have the same rivalries, but hate on the villains.
I love it, man. I love some cocky DBs. Get out there and do your thing. Say that you are an island and go out there and back it up. Sauce Gardner came into this league yapping.
Yep.
And the interesting thing about that is, as a rookie, he backed every piece of it up.
Oh,
I love it. I love it. I love that cockiness. You got to have that cockiness.
I like that cocky to a smaller extent with Darrelle Revis. They started talking about Revis Island. You didn't want to play, or you can even go back as far as Deion. I mean, as cocky as it gets. Let Deion get an interception and just regularly run the ball back for a pick six. Wasn't going to happen.
Not going to happen.
You're going to high step.
The whole world is going to know that he got a pick six.
I mean, they came out for prime. It was all about prime time. I love it. I love it, man. I used to love that with Carolina when their defense was Thieves Avenue. And them dudes would just go get it, man. And you would just be like, oh, I loved it. That whole time they went 15-1 and they just sit there and they pose in the end zone.
Yes, sir. Josh Norman was a 5th round draft choice who came out yapping, saying what he was going to do, and got out on that field and did exactly what he said he was going to.
Absolutely. I loved it.
Love it.
Yeah. Because it's infectious. It goes in even to the offense. They see that, they feed off of it.
Yeah.
Those are things that I even hear about Baker Mayfield, why people say they love Baker. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. You know, he's sitting there butting heads with people and he ain't even got no damn helmet on. And I'm like, okay, not smart, but I get it. Because they're like, man, he just keeps you going because you looking at this dude and you're going, damn, if he like that, I got to sit there and step my game up. I love that kind of thing. I love it.
I even love the diva wide receivers, man. Y'all can't stop me. I'm going to burn you. Throwing up the deuces. I ain't got no problems with none of that, man. As long as you're not a cancer in the locker room with it, I don't have a problem with it.
Even though it's a different sport, every time I see Steph Curry shoot the ball and before going to hoop, he's sitting there talking about night.
Yep. And guess what? If you don't like it, stop it. Simple. Stop it.
Exactly. So Ryan, I'm here for it. More of it, please.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a great thing because you got to remember at the end of the day, the NFL is about entertainment. Remember when we grew up, the NFL was 6 months out of the year and you didn't hear about it until July when camp was coming back. Now the NFL is damn near 12 months out of the year because of the different things that they stage and everything else. You're always talking about the NFL.
Yep.
You know, so yes, you need those names. And what always made the NFL harder than the other primary sports is these guys wear helmets. So you're not really used to seeing the guys outside of the helmets and putting a real face with it. You're always seeing them with their helmets on and some of them have the little shields and stuff. So now being able to see those dudes outside of their helmets and stuff like that is absolutely honest. Robbie says, cuz don't talk that shit and then get pummeled.
Yeah, that's a bad look. CJ Henderson.
Oh, look. There's a difference between being Michael Jordan and Gerald. What's his name?
Gerald Wilkins.
There's a difference. You can be Michael or you can be Craig Elo. No. If you Craig, but you think you Mike, that's the problem.
Yes,
don't be a problem. I'm the Jordan killer. That didn't work out too well, bro.
No,
don't be going around talking about I'm the Jordan killer, and then you get lit up like that. I started naming him Atlantic City. All them tilts I kept seeing. I was like, God damn. Wes says I heard Randall got that Panthers jersey down at the Goodwill 50% off.
Oh, hold on. Whoa. Put some respect on Thomas Davis' name, homie. I dare you, you Commander Redskin fan.
Oh God, Wes. That's wrong. I felt bad reading it, but it was hilarious. Oh my gosh, Wes, that's just wrong. That's just wrong.
This is an official Thomas Davis.
That's
This ain't no knockoff.
That's a TD 58. He said, "You know I love you, man. You gotta make up for it now."
Wes is going for that comedy award in the cooler this year.
Oh my God, yeah, he's well on his way. So yeah, back to Tampa. So I think Tampa has done enough to retain their spot. But now when I look at New Orleans, I just gotta believe at some point Derek Carr can really utilize Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed and get those two guys on the same page with him. I gotta believe that I just don't know what Alvin Kamara has left in the tank. He used to be a really good back that could even receive out of the backfield, and I think he still can. But has he taken a lot of hits? Jamal Williams is his backup. Taysom Hill is still on the team as a tight end. Juwan Johnson is a tight end. I think they have enough to be able to do a little something in the division. I don't really see this team being more than an 8-9 win team when it's all said and done. Probably not enough to get them into the playoffs. I see the North really taking a lot of those wild card spots, whether it's Green Bay, whether it's Chicago, that kind of thing, or even out into the West where you've got San Francisco and you've got a Rams team that looks a lot better now than they did even a year ago. So I see the Saints really being okay in their division, but outside of their division, I don't really have a lot of expectations for the Saints.
Yep. So this is where we're going to have our first disagreement at. I think that Atlanta has done a whole lot in this offseason to overtake the Bucs. And I think also that Baker Mayfield is going to take a giant step backwards without Canales being there to work with him.
That's a good point.
We'll see. But Canales gets the best out of pretty much any quarterback that he's ever worked with. He's done so much for Baker, but now that he's not there, I just want to see if Baker could do that by himself, or is he going to resort back to that Cleveland Browns era Baker Mayfield, or even worse, that Carolina Panthers era Baker Mayfield, without that offensive coordinator sitting there to hold his hand. So I got the Bucs coming in second. I got Atlanta coming in first because of just the moves they made in the offseason. They got Drake London, their wide receiver. Mm-hmm. They got a very good number one, number two punch in running backs with Bijan Robinson, and then my guy Tyler Algier being the power back at the goal line. Those two were killer last year with their speed and their dynamite.
You got the Falcons first?
I got the Falcons first.
And then the Bucs.
Yep, and then the Bucs. I think Kirk Cousins could come back and be decent enough to carry them, be better than they were last year at the quarterback position. I like what they've done defensively as well. You look at their secondary and the pass rusher that they got with Matthew Judon, and then they got Justice Simmons in the secondary, also Jesse Bates 3 in the secondary. Their secondary is pretty damn stacked.
It is.
So, all that being said, I think Atlanta's done enough in the offseason to barely take over the Bucs. But I could be wrong with that as well, because this division is so tight that I think that 9 wins is going to take it again.
Now,
or 10-7.
Let me ask you this about the Falcons. A couple of things about the Falcons. Kyle Pitts came out with a lot of fanfare. Very, very huge tight end. Very, very athletic tight end. Production has not been there because, of course, you've had 2 quarterbacks before Ritter and what's his name from Washington. They came in and just really didn't really get him the ball. Heineke, Taylor. I know it was like a beer. So you had Heineke and you had Ritter, not really able to get Kyle Pitts the ball. I really feel like Kirk Cousins is going to be able to do that more on a regular basis.
Definitely. And even if he can't, I like what I see out of Michael Penix Jr. too.
That was going to be the other thing I brought up. What are we going to see out of Penix? Is this going to be a Justin Fields situation where they're going to try to find opportunities to get Penix on the field on certain plays?
I thought that dude was very poised in the championship game last year, Washington versus whoever the hell they played. Ohio State, was it? Mm-hmm. No, Michigan. Sorry. I thought he was very poised in that game. And I thought during the whole run to the championship game that Penix was just great with ball placement, delivery, and being agile in the pocket. So even if Cousins can't get the job done, I think that he's a very capable backup to step in there.
Absolutely. And at least a good mentor for somebody like a young quarterback like Penix Jr. Robbie said Ritter was cut yesterday. Yeah, I saw that on the 53. That, he was cut. I think he was out there with the Cardinals.
Yeah, he was cut from the Cardinals. I was about to say Atlanta got rid of him completely.
Which is fine because he was susceptible to either throwing interceptions or taking huge sacks that would put him in from a 3rd and 3 to a 4th and 16 all the time.
Dude was terrible.
So I didn't get that. I don't know why they walked away from Mariota and then promoted him. That made no sense, but that's one of the decisions that they made. So I'll see. I'm just wondering what Kirk will be able to do with the team. You may be right. I kind of still have Atlanta at 3, only because I'm trying to believe that Derek Carr can be that guy that I always thought Derek Carr could be, and that it'll finally click. Again, I got to see what the coaching is going to be with Atlanta. I trust Todd Bowles a little bit more. So I'm kind of giving them the nod. Plus, they've got 2 established receivers in Tampa. If Baker can at least get Mike Evans and Godwin on a regular basis, that's going to even make the play action a lot better with their running game. So I want to see how that comes. Now, I was let down a lot last year because Bijan Robinson came out the gate hard, and then they kind of just tailed off really, really quickly. And it seems like then they went back to Algier as their primary back. Drake London showed some flashes of what he could be, and I think he is that guy. But you got Ray McLeod in as one of the trio of receivers, and Darnell Mooney. So yeah, I think that they could make some noise for sure. The South is really, like I said, it's in flux. It's all over the place. The only thing that I know that we agree on is the Carolina Panthers, aka the doo-doos of the South, will go ahead and continue to hold the bottom of the barrel when it comes to the cellar in the NFC South.
Now that we absolutely agree on, and I hate to agree with you, but I'm in the, a lot of people in the water cooler ask me this: why do I hate Bryce Young? I don't hate Bryce Young, man. I cheer for him. I want him to do well, but I just got to call it like I see it. And he's got to show it to me, because last year was so bad. Everybody wants to talk about, he didn't have a line and he didn't have weapons, whatever. There's other quarterbacks out there that are taken number 1 overall that don't have lines, they don't have weapons, and they go out there and do a better job than what I saw out of Bryce Young last year. I don't even like the confidence that was displayed by Bryce Young last year.
Anytime you see that little smirk on his face.
Yeah, I don't even like that sly confidence. So he's got a lot to prove this year. I'm hoping that he will be better. I'm hoping that he could come out the gates smoking. I hope the kid goes for 300 yards this first game.
Same.
But it's just hope. I need to actually see it. I need to see it before I could put the Carolina Panthers anywhere but 4th in that division. I got Atlanta number 1. I got Tampa number 2. I got Saints number 3. And until I see something out of Bryce, Carolina is going to remain 4. Now, the thing with Carolina Panthers, they've gone out and they've got him a line now. So that excuse is off the table. They got him one of the best lines on paper. I know we're talking paper. That's all we could talk today. But the best line on paper probably in the NFC. They also went out and got him some serviceable weapons at wide receiver. So they can't talk about that anymore.
Deontay Johnson.
Got Deontay Johnson. Yep.
Your leg Thielen is still there.
Thielen's still there, and you got my man Leggett that they drafted. So
you got Trimble still there. You got Ian Thomas still there as tight ends that can catch the ball.
Yep.
You got Robert Hunt as the right guard. You got Taylor Martin back. You got Corbett back at center. You got Damian Lewis on the other side.
Lewis and Hunt are two of the best guards in the whole damn NFL.
Exactly.
So listen, if Bryce struggles this year, y'all gonna have to just hold that L, man, for real though. Because
if Bryce struggles, you need to bring in the Red Rocket quickly.
Yep, quickly.
Last seen Andy Dalton played when Bryce was hurt. He played very well against Seattle. I ain't gonna let that go. I'm gonna remember that because I don't think it was just a fluke. I think it's Andy being able, as a veteran, to have a better command of an offense and to be tall enough to see over a defense. I think Bryce could be successful, but there's something that concerns me. He looks just as little as he did his first year. It doesn't look like he bulked up at all during the offseason.
No, he did not.
I didn't see any commitment to making himself a bigger, better player. You don't need to be too bulky, but you need to be able to take a damn hit.
Yes.
It looked like I could blow on him through this computer screen and break him in half.
At least get on Kyler Murray's level. You know what I'm saying? Kyler got some muscle to him. At least get on that.
Man, I mean, every time I see Bryce Young come out, I'm waiting for Sally Struthers to come behind him and start asking for 35 cents a day.
I'm telling you.
You know, and start hearing the little music, hold your candle up, you know, and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, oh my God, he look like one of them kids. Yeah,
every time I see him, I'm waiting to see the high school kids coming right behind him.
Right, exactly. Like who you play for, JT Williams?
Right.
Robbie says what got me the other day was how well. Every time I want to say Jack Plummer played in the preseason game and led the Panthers to a win, and he was cut. Yeah, they just knew he was just basically buying time for them not to have to play Young. That's all it was.
Yeah, they're not gonna keep three quarterbacks on that team. Not with Bryce and all they've invested in them, and they already got one of the very best backups in the league in Andy Dalton. So there's no need to keep a number 3.
Exactly. You got a really, really good backup with Andy. So and then Robbie, it looks like he agrees with me. He got Tampa, Saints, Falcons fight for second. Saints and Falcons fight for second, and Panthers last. LOL. Because I could see that too. I could see my pick of the Saints and Falcons at 2 and 3 switching back and forth. I don't have that much confidence in the Saints really doing anything. I'm just thinking Derek Carr got to be better than the previous 2 seasons that I've seen him play in New Orleans. Like this, because if it not, bro, don't be surprised when they draft a quarterback in the first round next year.
Yeah, I think it's going to happen, man. I think Carr's downward side of his career right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's starting to prove that Las Vegas may have had it right all along.
Yeah.
The longer this experience, because I remember at one point we was like, yeah, send him over to Carolina. We'll take him.
I know. I was willing to take him too. That would have been a mistake.
I don't know. Sometimes I'm thinking that Carolina has become the Bermuda Triangle. Like you might have had a really decent career, and this is where careers come to die. I'm trying to believe that. But we will find out if Hunt and Lewis end up having down years, then I'm going to really believe that. Because I believe that they can be very dominant. So let's look at our last division, which is going to be the NFC West. And in that, we have the reigning champs of the San Francisco 49ers. I think we can probably all agree. I'm sorry. Yeah, that we can all agree that more than likely they will continue to win the division.
Absolutely. I don't care what they do with Brandon Ayuk. They're still going to win that division.
Exactly. So you still got Brock Purdy doing Purdy things. Josh Dobbs is a quarterback out there too. Anthony says, now I don't know what research Panthers had on Bryce Young over CJ Stroud.
Whew.
Man, don't you do that.
Anthony, if I told you what it came down to, you would probably hate the Panthers brass more than you hate them today. It came down to a test, a paper test.
Well,
they were really blown away by Bryce Young's test score over CJ Stroud's. That was the separating point. A freaking test.
Damn test. But the test that should matter the most is your eyes.
Thank you.
Is what the hell I see. Either he's a baller or he's not. Is he smart? Is he a damn nuclear chemist? Maybe not. Can he read defenses? Can he change plays at the line of scrimmage? Can he line up his tackles where they need to be for protection and do all of that in a matter of seconds?
Correct.
That's all I need to know. Player abilities, Robbie says. Absolutely.
Yep.
Do I need to pass? Does he need to pass a damn wonder lick? No, he does not. He needs to be a baller. Can he sit there and know when to sit there and throw the ball away, get it out of harm's way? Almost like the Hippocratic oath, do no harm to your team. Put your team in a bad position. Put you on a short field, on a long field because you're backing. 3 and outs. Make your defense have to sit there and fight to get you back on the field and stuff like that. That's all I need to know.
Yep. All I needed to know was answered last year when I saw Ohio State versus Michigan in that rivalry game. And that was a tough ass Michigan defense. And Stroud just went out there and balled. And he was a leader during that game. He got his team fired up during that game. That became my quarterback I wanted with the Panthers, man.
Exactly. Because
I don't care about no tests.
We talk about somebody being a force multiplier. Not is he a good player, but can he make the other players around him better? CJ Stroud proved that over and over and over. I don't know how much more game film you're going to sit there and not look at the game film because you're worried about a damn test.
Yeah, and that's what happened.
Don't get me started on that. Anthony then says, I don't know. It was a game Bryce Young was lined up on the wrong person, a guard, and not his center.
Yeah, I saw that highlight at Alabama. I think he also did it with the Panthers, but I saw that highlight at Alabama. But
when you're looking at the 49ers, I mean, did they add a whole lot? No, it's the same names, but these names are still impressive. McCaffrey, Samuel, Ayuk, hopefully, George Kittle. You know, those guys on your team, that already puts you ahead. Yeah. That's all you really got to say. Then you can get to the defense. Yeah, Nick Bosa is still on the defense. You start there. Leonard Floyd is still there. Fred Warner is still there. That's a hell of a defense that they got.
Yep.
Very opportunistic defense. So until I see a lot more out of the Rams, who I am picking second, then we will see how the 49ers go. The Rams, Stafford, they got Garoppolo. Looks like he's been suspended right now. I don't know what that is for, but probably something. Kyron Williams, though, is the running back. You got Cooper Kupp back again from another year from injury. You got the guy with the best name out there, Puka Nacua, as a receiver. That dude showed what he was last year. You got Higbee back at tight end. I think the Rams have a lot to be able to show. I think their upside is back. If Stafford can keep the ball out of harm's way and stop throwing them, not just interceptions, but pick sixes, then they'll be in a lot better position. But I got to see it. I have more faith in the Rams showing me their better side than I believe that the Seahawks and the Cardinals can do it.
Absolutely. No doubt.
I'm almost giving them number 2 by default because I just don't think that much of the Seahawks and the Cardinals.
Number 2 by default is an appropriate response because that's exactly what I have. It's like they can't overtake San Francisco because they're not that good, but they're also not as bad as the other 2 teams out there.
Bingo.
They got to have number 2.
Bingo. Anthony says 49ers need Greenlaw to stay healthy. He is the X factor. I agree with that. Yeah. And Robbie picked my order: San Fran, LA. He said LA or Seattle. I think it's going to be LA, then Seattle, and then Arizona. That's what I ended up with myself. Because then when you look at the Seahawks, I mean, I don't really see where they got a lot better either. They got Geno. They got Sam Howell behind him. Kenneth Walker still a decent running back with Zach Charbonnet right behind him. And then you got DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. Those guys are starting to get up there. You got Laviska Shenault as a receiver too. Then you got Noah Fant as your tight end. But I just don't see enough in that offense to really help out that defense. I think that defense has lived a little bit too long off of the League of Boom and is not that.
Yeah, man. I actually got Seattle coming up last.
Wow. God
Yeah.
dang.
They lost Pete Carroll. That's the heart of their
You know what? I picked the Cardinals last, but I could see 3 and 4 flopping for me. I'm not married to that at all. I just hate the Cardinals that much. I don't like Little Mighty Mouse at all.
I don't like them either. I'm here with you, but they did get Marvin Harrison
Junior,
one wide receiver spot, and then the other wide receiver spot they got my boy from the Texans. I forget his name. So they should be pretty.
Chris Moore, Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and Zach Pascal. Zay Jones too. But Zay suspended right now. But he'll be back. But yeah, you're right. But you still got Little Mighty Mouse, James Conner. He's been a good back. He's getting up there. I don't know what he's got left. He's taking a lot of hits. I just don't trust their offense, and I damn sure don't trust the defense. I mean, Buda Baker is still out there at free safety, but you don't really have a whole lot up front. If Buda has to be involved in a lot of plays, then that means you ain't getting a lot of pressure up front. That's all.
It's kind of what you just said, Baker and nobody else, man.
Exactly. So I'm a little leaning on the Cardinals kind of being that team that'll show flashes. You'll see Kyler Murray make some really Herculean plays, but they're not going to necessarily be plays that are going to lead to a bunch of victories with them. So I'm a little bit concerned about the Cardinals. Seahawks, I just got to kind of believe that their 12th man will kind of help them win a lot of their home games and stuff like that. I just don't see the Cardinals really putting up a fight, especially if they got to play those other 3 teams twice a year. I think that's going to hurt their record more than anything.
Yeah.
So, but I could go either way with the Cardinals and the Seahawks. Not married to it at all. Y'all, yeah.
Who was your NFC Championship game?
Ooh, so NFC Championship game. I'm still not ready to. Of course, I'm not seeing Dallas anywhere near there. I still got it as a repeat between the Lions and the 49ers. I see the other teams have made some strides. The NFC South, I don't see anybody in the South that can make it to the championship game. The only ones that I see from the East that can make it to the championship game would be the Eagles. But at the end of the day, I still think the Lions, if it comes down to it, I see the Lions beating the Eagles. I see the 49ers beating the Bucks. And it ended up being the 49ers and the Lions again, with the Lions this time getting the better of them.
Yeah. I got San Fran versus the Eagles. So
okay. I can see it too. I'm just rooting for the Lions to not become the version of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, I like Detroit.
On the cusp. I would love to see Dan Campbell get in there and bust up some kneecaps and do all that kind of stuff that he promised he was going to do. Detroit is a city that just really deserves it. You can feel the energy from them. I would love to be able to see them get to that championship game and face Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah,
I see the Chiefs back in the game. Unfortunately, I also see the Chiefs winning that game. So, hey, we'll see. It's a long way off, but we'll see. Until proven otherwise. Who do you guys have for your division? Oh, Anthony has one question before we go. Do you have 3 quarterbacks that's on the hot seat?
I could give you 2. They're both in the same division. Derek Carr is definitely on the hot seat. If he don't get it done this year in New Orleans, he's out of here.
Yep.
And the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young, is absolutely on a broiling hot seat. They have brought in all of this money around him, better weapons, better line, like we talked about. If he don't get the job done this year, by next year, they're going to be looking to draft somebody else.
I'm gonna throw another one on there. Would be Tua Tagovailoa. If he regresses this year, everybody doesn't love Tua, but they realize that he's better than X amount of quarterbacks out there. But then is it going to be time to start to look into drafting a quarterback of the future? Because you realize Tua as good and serviceable as a quarterback as he is, there's a cap on how far he can get you. It's not
Yeah.
going to be good enough to just be second in the AFC East, because again, the Patriots will rise again. The Bills window has closed. The Jets, yes, they're playing on borrowed time because Aaron Rodgers will end up leaving at some point. Hey, Haley. But at some point, you got to realize that, hey, Tua can't be another Dak, where he can get you a bunch of regular season wins. He can put up a lot of yards, passing titles, and stuff like that, but it doesn't translate into anything related to the offseason. Miami fans are not going to be happy with just being second in their division.
You're right.
You win the division, and you're going to have to get to an AFC championship game somehow or another, and you're going to have to go through the North to do it.
And I'll add another caveat to that. If he gets hurt and misses any kind of significant time, Miami fans are going to really turn against Tua.
Bingo. So, yeah, I would throw that on there too. But look, y'all, we squeezed a lot in the last 2 weeks. We covered 32 teams in 2 weeks. And that's because that's what we do.
That's what we do, baby.
Next
5 years at it.
Next Wednesday is going to be the lead in to the season opener on that Thursday. So it is time, y'all. We are going to have a show. We're going to talk about all of the teams. We're going to come up with more predictions, player of the year, offense, all that kind of stuff. Any of the news that's leading into the season, our prediction for week 1, as we like to do, really dive into what these teams are going to really look like in the opening weekend. It's going to be a fabulous week of football, y'all. I'm here for it. I can smell it, Rand. It is here now.
Yes, sir. The wait is over. Hey, Cooler Peeps, thank y'all for chiming in. Really, really appreciate y'all's comments, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, y'all. Thank y'all for the love. Thank y'all for coming out and spreading the word. Let's help keep continuing to grow this thing. This is season 5, and we got no plans of stopping anytime soon. So y'all keep it coming, and
ain't no stopping us now.
Hey,
we're on the groove.
Come on now. Y'all, thank you so much. I'm Brian Parker. We got Randall Hargrove here for Head to Head Sports. We will see y'all again next week. Y'all be safe. Peace.